Growth is just as uncomfortable as stagnation. The only difference is one is intentional. Good morning, guys. I'm coming to you on episode number 12 of the Think Up podcast. Thank you again for supporting me. Thank you for all of the comments. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get right into it on this Monday. Hope you guys had a blessed weekend, a blessed Valentine's Day. I know my wife and I had. I really appreciate you guys again. I'm going to get right into it. Again, episode 12 of the Think Up podcast. And this subject is called Growth is Just as Uncomfortable as Stagnation. The only difference is one is intentional. That's one of the quotes from my upcoming book, Think Up to Get Up, How to Break Free from Destructive Ways of Thinking. I just want to get right into it. This quote, God put this on my heart because I started noticing that even when I didn't want to push to grow and become all God was calling me to be through my daily disciplines, I noticed even in my stagnation, I was still uncomfortable. I still didn't like where I was at. I didn't like my income. I didn't like my everyday life, period. You know what I mean? I didn't like that I had to do things I didn't want to do. But as I began to read, as I began to study, as I began to pray, I realized, man, a lot of these mentalities and a lot of these things that's going on in my everyday life was things that I was bringing on myself. And one of those things is like, okay, I'm going to be uncomfortable anyways. Why don't you be uncomfortable while you're growing? The growing pains, just like pregnancy. My wife currently is 7 months pregnant with twin girls. And those growing pains is very uncomfortable, but it's growing to an expected end. That's going to be a blessing to our family. What is God calling you to grow in that may be uncomfortable, but it's still going to bless you and your family once that thing is birthed? That's the whole purpose of this podcast, guys, is to help you to become the highest expression of who God is calling you to be and nothing less. And that's why I pray this content bless you. If it does, please share it. Please comment. I really appreciate it. So again, that quote is growth is just as uncomfortable as stagnation. The only difference is one is intentional. I just want to make a couple points. The first point I want to make is growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to stretch outside of your comfort zone. Growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to stretch outside of your comfort zone. I'm learning that you have to learn to be effective out of your comfort zone. You guys are watching it right now with me. I'm very outside of my comfort zone. This is very uncomfortable for me. However, I know this is a purpose and this is a plan that God has for me to become the leader that He's calling me to be. And I'm not going to step up to this opportunity and bring anything less than my best, even though I'm uncomfortable. You have to allow God to grow you and mature you outside of your comfort zone. You can't be in a place of comfort. Nothing grows in a place of comfort. You are not going to grow and manifest the gifts, the talents, anything that God birthed in you in your comfort zone. You have to get outside of your comfort zone. And the next thing is stagnation is uncomfortable because it forces you to make sense of the stagnant areas of your life. I really like that one. Stagnation is uncomfortable because it forces you to make sense of the stagnant areas in your life. When you make sense of the stagnant areas in your life, what you're really saying is your growth is not important. What you're saying is you want the things that God has for you, but you want them to come to you. And this is the epidemic I believe that our culture is going through, which is having faith in faith. They have faith in things that require no effort on your part. That's why we love the lottery. You can give $1 and potentially win $100 million. When you have that mentality, you take that mentality to God. You take that mentality to your workplace. You take that mentality to your business. You take that mentality to your relationships. When you have a mentality that if you think about it long enough and believe hard enough, it will manifest. Unfortunately, it leaks over to other areas in your life and you end up being way short of what God is blessing you to become, because God does not make you become anything. He gives you an opportunity, but you have to mix faith with works. And we all know that. But God knows when God put those daily disciplines on you, it is sometimes uncomfortable to embrace them because you don't feel like it. You don't feel anointed. You don't feel like it's being effective. You want results. You want to see the fruit. We all do. But when you be persistent, when you just persist, when you consistently walk towards what God is calling out of you through your daily disciplines, you will be so amazed of what will come of that out of 1 year, 2 years. And the next point I want to make, well, first of all, let me read those 2 points again, because I really believe they're going to bless somebody. Growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to stretch outside of your comfort zone. And stagnation is uncomfortable because it forces you to make sense of the stagnant areas in your life. Y'all, don't attempt to make sense of the stagnant areas in your life. When you have any stagnant areas, no matter what it is, when you make sense of them, what you're doing is saying, you know what, this is supposed to happen, so let me see why it's happening so I can accept it. I believe when you attempt to make sense of the stagnant areas in your life, you attempt to make sense of it, and meaning that you start believing that it's okay. That you know what, it's okay because so-and-so it went through the same thing. This person went through the same thing. That you start finding other people that made sense of the same stagnant areas in your life. And I believe that when you do that, you're on a path to destruction. Because, and when I say destruction, I mean you're not going to become all God is calling you to be. You're not gonna become that highest expression. And on this podcast is for people who are serious about becoming the highest expression, becoming all God is calling them to be. So I pray that bless you. The next point, it's unbelievable of the amount of faith that we can apply to things that are disconnected from actions. It's unbelievable the amount of faith we can apply to things that's disconnected from our actions. We tend to have a lot of effort put into faith and disconnect that faith from your daily actions. Y'all, I'm a big believer in what you do every day you become. And yeah, I just want to encourage you guys, about this growth. Ask yourself, what are you becoming every day? What is your vision for you and your family? Where do you see you guys in 1 or 2 years? And where you see you, are you doing something every day for that to be realized? Every day. Because think about it, we're attacked every day. Ads hit us every day. Our fears confront us every day. The things that we don't want to do confront us every day. So why not sow into where you're going every day? That's so important, y'all. And the last point I want to make is to become the highest expression of who God is calling you to be, you must be effective in the things that make you uncomfortable. And I say it again, I really love this quote by T.D. Jakes. Everything in life is on the other side of your fears. Everything in life is on the other side of your fears. You may be fearful, you may be uncomfortable, but that's when your life begins, because you really start finding out who God is and who you are. You're so much greater than your job. You're so much greater than you just providing for your family. God is calling so much out of us, and we have to submit to that process. So guys, I pray this content bless you. If it did, please share it. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Robert L. Laurie 3. You can email me at robertlaurie3@gmail.com. You guys have a blessed Monday, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.